first down to fifth is 21 points difference. 71 to 50 points is the difference there. But we're looking at 1 million, Nova, Alpha 7, EVOS, and HVVP as those 5 teams at the moment in that front-running pack. But we've not even played a quarter of the games yet, so there's definitely time to change that completely.
Definitely not. We still got a lot of games, like you said. And also, I just want to throw this out there. Nova is in 4th place overall, but that's with 2 very bad Erangel games where they only got 4 points, right? And Erangel, in my opinion, is their best map. So if it were not for the hot drops, right, maybe tomorrow, you know, they won't be as contested. We might see Nova start doing, you know, Nova things on Erangel, which is their strongest map. So that's something to think about. They're in 4th place overall with 2 bad games on their best map.
Gatka is absolutely available on this drop. It looks like we are going to see both POWR and Nova heading out that direction already. I feel like we might be seeing this again. I feel like we have another hot drop on the cards. I'm wondering if this is a little bit of a we're not going to make an adjustment on the fly call. Like we're going to stick to our guns here and just try and go for it and not readjust. Because we're going to wait for the day to end to try and change that. But it looks like maybe POWR are drawing a little bit short of Gatka this time.
Yeah,
they have.
It is very difficult to stretch all the way to Gatka, and maybe after, you know, losing 2 hot drops in a row in a very disastrous manner, they might have decided to just give it up. You know, like, sure, if the plane path flew right over Gatka, we might have seen a hot drop. But this, in a way, is kind of like showing them, like, all right, we don't have to take Gatka. We could drop somewhere else, and they'll probably have a better game than they've, well, statistically, right? Unless if they get eliminated immediately by a different team, they'll do better than they have dropping against Nova for this match. So that might just play into things coming up to tomorrow and the rest of the days where the hot drop will no longer happen.
What I'm interested in now is, do Nova try and move further north? We're going to see Nova's rotations unleashed, right, in this early game because we're 2.5 minutes in and they're not fighting. So they have those opportunities to make decisions.
Yeah. They might be in a collision course right now, though, as, yeah, I'm seeing that on the minimap. Hopefully the camera will pan over before the fight starts happening. Okay.
See, they're diverting.
Yeah, it looks like they got close, and now they're subverting. Yeah. It's Nova's just doing a little bit of a split loot, and POWR doing the same, just basically mirroring each other, not necessarily clashing, though. And, yeah, there's that POWR. Those 2 POWR players that are turning back to the way that they came from. Looks like POWR is struggling to figure out where to go, though. I thought they would just grab the buggy or maybe they're looking for more vehicles because all they have is just 1 buggy.
I mean, it would make sense. It's likely that you're going to want to head somewhere like South George, maybe even breaching over towards North George on this sort of a circle.
Yeah, I think they just only managed to find the 1 buggy, so they were looking for another vehicle, not able to find it. They're going to be hurting for loot and vehicles for the rest of the game. As for everyone else, it looks like everyone dropped where they wanted to. HVVP with a long rotation into North George Pool, which is their primary looting location on Erangel. And seems like this is going to be a calm game. Finally, after 4 straight games of nonstop action, John, we're going to have a game where there is no fighting for the first minute.
You said it now. You said it now. All the teams are going to start fighting in about 30 seconds. Guaranteed, 100%.
Oh,
very, very wide split on the north side from 1 million, leaving 2 over to Gameshki, 2 near Severny. Actually, someone in a boat on the north side of Severny. So they're going for a real big rotation there to come in on the north side of the circle. Flux went on the western coast up towards South George, so they leapfrog ahead of Nova to get there. But Nova looked like they want to draw short, play in the Everest Foothills compounds.
I don't think there's a lot of loot, honestly, with this Nova split. Maybe they're going to spread out a little bit more after they loot those bigger compounds and pick up some more utility and items. But Nova is a team that always loots like scrap compounds, I'd say, and they make the best of it, and it works for them. This first circle being kind of centered just a little bit to the west of Pochinki, so nothing definitive yet. I mean, it could even go north. There is a portion of the North Erangel Island in play. So I think everyone's just going to bide their time here. No real engagements that's going to happen. No power positions that any teams want to fight for right now in the very first zone, as there's still a lot of question marks as to where this could end up going to.
At the moment, Yoodo Alliance playing in ruins, probably one of the strongest positions right now, but it's going to be difficult to leave if it moves away from there. It's likely that they will stay in the next circle, though, from that very, very central position. I think it is literally slap bang middle on that castle ruin, just to the southwest of that central island that sits in the middle of the river.
Man, I'm not used to this. We're going to have to actually talk
Nothing's
about
happening.
things.
What's going on?
Because there's no action. And this is, usually it works the opposite way around, right? Like, first game starts out slow and it ramps up. Now this is the complete opposite. We've gone from hot in the water to just ice cold. And teams are just playing it slow now. Looks like Nova is making somewhat of a rotation. That might actually be their full-out rotation, as not much more to loot in the Gatka area.
I mean, it would be about a minute prior to now when Nova might have finished that engagement with POWR in the previous games, right? And then they're coming through and looking where to go, but they've already been on the road for this entire time, so they've managed to get a lot more position. Looking at the damage proportion, I think this is fairly expected. TITTSBURGH topping the tables, 2.7k right now for HVVP. They have been on the warpath really, really significantly. Kitsune hasn't had as much impact on those damage tables. Ooh, Paraboy. Pause that.
It's POWR once again.
Ooh, I mean, that's not good for POWR, for Paraboy. Will be plowed down there in the fields. And POWR, they're going to be able to pick up the point, leaving Nova at 3. And in a very central position, you don't want to be left with only 3 players alive.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate for Nova. I can't imagine how many Nova fans, especially over the side in China right now, just absolutely hate POWR's guts. Like,
can you imagine?
Because Nova's got a die-hard fandom. Like, die-hard.
Oh, yeah.
Fandom, yeah. So it's like, this team, POWR, is causing Nova so much issues right now, and even though Nova are down to 3, at least they secure a very strong position in center of circle. But like we mentioned before, John, we have no idea where this circle is going to head to still. It is still the very first circle, and there is still a lot of strong positions that could easily impact the rest of the game if it just goes south, west, east, or even north.
I feel like if it does hard shift, no matter which direction, it's going to be really, really hard. Sometimes you get hard shifts that are sort of kind of okay because people kind of knew already that it was going to finish in that sort of area. But we'll have to wait and see. We are waiting on tenterhooks for that one. EVOS, Desk said they wanted to see the chicken dinner come out from this squad. Right now they're playing out in the blue, I think. Yeah, they're on the southwest side, just passing by Quarry right now.
Yeah.
They're right underneath the picture-in-picture, which is why you can't see them. But they are going to be swinging on in on that western side. And there's the south shift. So that is going to isolate the south side of the river.
That's a big shift. It cuts out, you know, the Everest. It cuts out the North Island. We know it's not going to be somewhere far in the east anymore. And this area of the map's probably one of the most commonly played Erangel zone endings. I know this is only Circle 2, but immediately this circle compared to the other Erangel games, well, I mean, we did have a military base, but like everyone kind of knows what's up now. Like which positions to take, what we can do from each position starting in Circle 2 already, and they kind of have a good idea of how to play the rest of the game out.
PITTSBURGH Knights been having a fairly difficult day so far. Currently in 12th position. They have picked up an elimination so far on the game, finding a player from... Actually, who have they found a player from? I can only spot Nova who've lost a player.
STALWARTs, actually.
Oh, yeah. There they are.
Of course.
Sneaky little bar. Getting away from me. Yeah, GODLIKE STALWART. I mean, why not?
Man, STALWART is what do you think it is? STALWART's just having a couple of bad games, and now the nerves are getting to them, and they're just like losing players haphazardly.
Not entirely sure, but we'll have to double check. Yoodo Alliance playing on the sunken south side. They've gonna have to play with 3 though after losing Repo Boy on the southwest. HVVP have moved down south. They're playing in the powerful compound in the foothills of Everest on the eastern side of it. Flux a little bit further to their west. And 1 million taken up residency in the top of the ruins.
Everyone posturing up now. A lot of strong positions to be taken, and I think they're all taken, honestly. Everybody's in a good spot. It just comes down to how they play it out in the subsequent circle shift. We have POWR here. I think this is one of the positions that Nova wanted, which was why Paraboy, drove so close to that position. And I've seen in the PEL, Nova plays that position quite a lot, and they're quite comfortable with it. They were just a little bit too slow. Alpha 7 coming in from the edge of the map. Same with HVVP on the northwest. So, like, something I'm noticing with HVVP, right? If the circle shifts away from them, they don't go more center. If it shifts in a way where they can move more center, they'll stay on the edge and block out everyone on the backside. That's what they did on Miramar. That's what they did on Miramar. Or, did I say Miramar? That's what they did.
You said it, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they did do that twice on Miramar. I thought of the last game, and so I said Miramar. And
Yeah.
then I thought of the second game, which was also Miramar, so I said it
Yeah,
twice.
that's true. That's fair.
But that is what they do. They don't go more center. Once they're on the edge of zone, they block everyone on the backfill, and then they just work in from the edge. So I think that's exactly what they're going to do for this zone as well.
Try and play from the... I mean, it is a very solid compound for the surrounding area that they're playing from. They're going to have excellent oversight onto plenty of players. SKYLIGHTZ going to try and res up on that central island and move through. Down 1 moving into Vampire, but it is being traded off back and forth. The staircase, brutal, but stoned last to fall. And Down 1 will take them down. 16th place for Vampire. 6th place overall. I mean, 39 points isn't bad on the day. It's going to put them in 6th for now. Teams around them looking to leapfrog, and actually Down 1 probably the worst team to give those eliminations over towards. But they don't really have much of a choice.
Very strong, successful hard crash. I think, yeah, it was Down 1 that definitely crashed in as Vampire were on the top of the stairs there. HVVP lose 1 player, and this is the problem, right? They usually always keep their backs clear, but this time around, they get caught off guard by the Alpha 7. Now they're sandwiched between iNCO and Alpha 7. Now this is out of the comfort zone of HVVP. They usually always have the edge of zone, but Alpha 7, another team that's strong on the edge, is going to take that position over HVVP.
Likely that they're going to have to leave from this position, though, fairly soon, and HVVP can kind of shelter under the sightlines from Alpha 7. You'd imagine that they're just going to have to go for a straight-up crash if they want to take it down. Over on the northeastern side, the route of egress from the sunken city going to be fraught with danger.
Bacon time. Holding out Yoodo Alliance. Bacon time also in a strong position, even though it's on the edge. They have those giant mountains just to their south that could give them a lot of sightlines and options to play with. But first they need to deal with Yoodo Alliance. We see 2 players here. The third player of Yoodo actually still in the ruins area. So Yoodo Alliance getting very separated from each other. Not sure what happened there. Maybe the 2 other players can sneak on in, but Bacon time definitely is quite aware of their positions.
Shots over the top, 1 million. Bombarded on the north side. Suppressed, under siege. The next circle could prove to be troublesome. Hard southwest shift, wow, over towards EVOS. I mean, this is their chance now.
Yeah, that's a huge circle shift. You know, I was saying earlier at the beginning of the day, with the circle sizing differences, the shifts won't be as bad, but I think that's the biggest hard shift we've seen yet. As Bacon time, yep, Yoodo Alliance forced to make the push. Bacon time right now with the man advantage, but one player goes down, and actually with the support from way deep in Ruins actually comes into play. But it's still down to the two members here to finish off the 2v2.
Ooh, burned down from Bacon time. Forced to retreat down the stairs. Yoodo Alliance, I mean, they're holding off. They're doing okay, and actually doing fairly successful now as the tides start to turn. Ice down, player also falling on the ground floor. Another shot, but it's traded off finally, leaving Noise alone for Bacon time. This is a team that has been quiet since the first game, where they were able to frag out and control the round. Yoodo Alliance holding them in sunken. They do have this blue zone right on their doorstep, but the push has to come through. It will sweep in, and Noise falls. Yoodo Alliance alive with 2, potential to res up to 3.
This blue zone's really ticking. I think he's just going to have to go. He's going to have to leave that teammate behind because none of them are in zone either. This area of the map, by the way, all the hard cover is pretty much more or less taken, and you have the field finished. We have chopsticks in play, and that giant hay field pretty much covers the majority of the map.
It's going to be a lot of open ground, and the fact that Flux have sequestered themselves in the middle could be quite valuable already. Alpha 7 moving down. HVVP yet to make that lead in. POWR playing in a strong position, actually. A little bit closer to Gatka. And the chopsticks providing sanctuary for EVOS.
A lot of teams fighting right now for the control on this eastern side. That hillside is partially in zone, so we see STALWART right there trying to take control of it. Nova right now forced to give that spot up. They're trying to reconvene to rotate somewhere. They're not in zone here. USG also not in zone. 1 million on the northeast, and Ruins, so many teams still not yet in zone. So it is a mad dash, a fight to get the edge control on this eastern side.
It is really all about that northeastern side right now. The team's already in the fields. They're chilling for a while. PITTSBURGH Knights, unlikely that they're going to push super far forwards from this point. At the moment, they're probably going to wait it out just a little bit. Maybe try and crash later on when there's a little bit more chaos to try and capitalize. But that northeastern side has about 5 teams looking to get in. GODLIKE STALWART, they lost a player early, Pika falling, and they do not want to close this day out with another bad performance. They've had the one. And the Erangel, as the desk was saying, is 35 of their 36 points. So they do need these. They do need these Erangels to go well for them. So if you're going to not play essentially in 50% of your games, then you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, 35 of the... That's crazy to think about. Yoodo Alliance, this blue zone, you can see it here, taking really hard. This player's pretty much full boosted too, and he's not going to be able to make it in. STARWART Esports on that northern hill. They will manage to take control of it. That's great for them as USG coming in on the lower side on that northeast side. Also finds himself a decent position, opens up with 2 and crashes right on in. Time to clear the circle, pick up those points. I like what USG is doing here.
Oh wow, hard south shift as well. Going to move down towards the players already entrenched, meaning everybody now on the north swathe will be caught out in the cold. HVVP start to open up the gas on that north edge. Looking out to play spoiler to everyone over there. SKYLIGHTZ in the meantime, struggling to keep themselves together. They're not even solidly into this next circle. They're all the way out on the northeastern side. They're going to have to figure out how to move yet again if they survive this reign of terror.
Long range shots coming out for STE. iNCO looking to pick up some points onto the Donuts USG team. STALWART Esports trying to answer right back with some points. That could be a good nade if it connects. That player won't be able to get revived either, as Mafioso in the elimination feeds gets the snipe right onto HVVP. And Order, is he the last up again? I think he is. Yeah, Order once again, the last player remaining alive for the side of Nova.
Still going, but if you're going to slip out of the top 3, this is the way to do it, right? Like, you just keep going with solo performances, and not even the top solo performer at that. In come iNCO on the big crash. 2 players lit up immediately, but they do trade it 1-for-1. And a player V22K finally looking for more solace again, trading off the numbers, and is going back and forth between the squads. Squash is low, is losing Nenebeti on the forefront, leaves iNCO in a 1 versus 2 right now. Solkay and Lutz trying to hold it together. Squash puts the bullet through the window, but needs to try and force the heal. There's a wide flank coming through, should be on the broad side, but just gets back to cover. They're picking up these flushes in the meantime, and Lutz playing from the inside leaves them alone. Squash still trying to pop this med kit, trying to get himself back in the fight. Lutz lets him get past the window, floods all the way around the side. Now still in this 2 versus 1, as another player looking to get flushed, trades around, but finally put to the juicer. Squash eliminated. Fireflux stay up as 4, but they need these reses fast.
Yeah, luckily for them, no one third party that, no one was able to crash in because every team is just fighting on the outskirts of that building. Nova did get taken out by Alpha 7. Now Alpha 7 coming in from the western side as a 4-man team. They're looking very strong here in this position. And what a valiant try and effort with that crash out of iNCO. But yeah, it did not go their way. That medkit took forever to pop off, and they managed to get it. All the meanwhile, POWR has been sitting there chilling. They've racked up 5 elimination points for themselves.
Managed to pick up at some point. I mean, launching themselves off the bottom of the tables is really quite tight at that pack. So good news for them. HVVP down to 2 on the northern side. Meku, Tixi, heavy hitters for the squad. We've seen how impactful they can be. They are in this next zone, but they have a lot of field to cover here. 4 limbs, and EVOS not going to want this one to get away from them. Their chance at the chicken dinner.
Oh, the Knights are still alive too on the south side.
They're still pushing him. You know, they've been biding their time. They've been chilling.
Yeah. Oh, they got the chopsticks too. The end of the chopsticks in zone. That's actually a very good position given how small the circle is. Luckily for the side of HVVP, they also get the edge of zones, shifting right up north of them. Now, Alpha 7, I do imagine they're going to end up taking a fight if they could get the opening onto. Yep, just as I say it, Fireflux, they get an opening onto them. Is the push coming out now?
M24 in the hands of Mafioso, looking to take a couple helmets. Maybe a little bit more than that if he's lucky. Fireflux playing central on the area. Still as 4, but taking a little bit of damage. We'll be able to res back up. Staying alive for now. Donuts USG. We'll have to leapfrog forwards. They have got that forward outposts in Noato.
And it's down to EVOS and Alpha 7 now to make the next move. We did see Alpha 7 looking and eyeing the very top northern edge of zone. They're either going to take this and sweep to the north, or they have to take the full committed fight against Fireflux. But Fireflux does have 4, so even for Alpha 7, that's going to be a tough fight because they're going to have to crash in into a very hunkered down and defensed up position out of Fireflux.
Sprays onto the vehicle for POWR. And these buildings, very, very valuable. Still 4 of them alive. Naoto. Donuts USG takes heavy damage, but stays behind the cover, gets back in. Wants to pop some healing. Coops spotted out by EVOS there on the southwest side, and it's going to move away from them. They'll have to leave the chopstick finally.
The Alpha 7 tried to do a sneak play to get closer, but that did not work. And now Spec also knocked. I think the Knights are okay though. They're just, trying to play a little bit louder, peeking their heads up and over the chopsticks to find some damage. And here's Alpha 7 play now. They are going to go ahead and still continue with that push. It's a 3v4 as more and more Alpha 7 players get taken out.
Teams out in the open field starting to get cut down, scythed through by the sightlines available. Tixi spotted. Really solid spray there from top coming through. Surprising that he was able to manage to pull that one off. Should be resable in the position for HVVP, but still a slowdown. It might allow GODLIKE STALWART to get a little bit more of a better position on this north side.
Knights hold strong. Still with 4 up. EVOS forced out of their side of the chopstick will go down to 1 member. Redface, last one up. POWR still looking good, picking up another point, up to 6 now with 4 people up with the strongest position and compound left in the zone.
POWR on the southeast side trying to bring it back. We talked about how Fireflux are doing really well on their elimination count. Maybe POWR are going to be able to pick this one up. There's 6 elims already as well. towards the bottom of the tables, it would be a really good result to catapult up those standings at the end of day one. Donuts USG spotted out by Tixi. They did get back up to 2 on the north side, but have to move.
They could maybe prone their way in. I think the grass is already rendered for the side of Power, so they won't be able to see clearly if the side of HVVP try to prone in, but Power is sitting so comfortable. They could watch every which direction they want to with no pressure, so they might spot something out. As USG finally losing the zone behind this tree, they're going to try and do a smoke path and run their way in, but you have Fireflux now taking shots at those smokes. One player goes down. Lufa last up.
And off the meds, send it forwards. I mean, you're going to take the L there either way. Fortunately, will fall down. So 5 teams remain now. Fireflux at 4, Pittsburgh Knights and Power all at 4, all in that red zone, that elimination bracket. So a really solid result for all 3 of these teams.
Oh, they managed to find a finish onto Fireflux. The Knights managed to take one down. That is a huge mistake when you're in Fireflux's position with so much cover. Getting knocked, sure, it's fine, but getting knocked and finished, that is a huge, huge loss for the side of Fireflux. They're up to 13 eliminations though, which is great. But when it comes down to the final 3 teams, you would want to have 4 because the other 2 teams, the Knights and Power, with 4 alive.
I don't think anyone would have called this final circle, the 3 teams alive here. Fireflux, Pittsburgh Knights and Power, but here we are in that very timeline. Pittsburgh Knights and Power at 4, Fireflux on 3.
I do think the Knights is in the worst spot though. They're not likely to get the next circle, and all eyes on them. If they have to leave that chopstick ditch, there is no cover. It's all flat ground. Their vehicles are inside the ditch. They're not going to be able to use anything. They could drop a wall of smokes, but that is just going to insinuate Power to spam smoke so extremely hard. I don't think the Knights can manage to make it out of this one, not as a full squad at least.
Looming that smoke. They do still have that edge to play the cover. The backlines of Power will have to move potentially a little bit faster on this next circle. So might be a little bit of an issue for their sight lines, but they do have those buildings to move towards.
Good zone for Power here. Majority control. Fireflux will have to move out of cover. They do have like maybe a few ridges just close to them, but easily in nade range, especially with that watchtower position that one of the Power member has. This is the game for Power. If they lose this, I would have to say it's because it was a throw. And Coops, if anyone can get an opening, it would be Coops. Is the Knights going to make a move off that? They kind of have to. Zone is starting to close.
Kante has the sight line. Swapping the weapons back and forth. Can't quite decide what he wants to go for. M4 is the selection in the end. Spots Xenox. Move up and hit the deck behind the buggy. Jumps into the vehicle. Oh, clipping the roof there with the bullets. Is really going to hamper them. Not able to land the shots over towards Fireflux either. And Power's position is slipping just that little bit. That crate that could be moved forward to by the Pittsburgh Knights could be very, very valuable. They're out in the open now. Spec hits the deck. What's the drop shot? But Solus is on the ball for Fireflux. And again, in the watchtower, Power rain down bullets. And it looked like it was a little bit ropey for a while, but now they're starting to put the pieces together. The puzzle is taking shape, and the Power is starting to turn up to 11 here. All 4 of them still alive. They will wipe out the Pittsburgh Knights with 5 eliminations, and Fireflux now have the full attention of Power.
Oh, the nade's raining in. It's getting close. We've got 2 more people pushing up. Another nade hit. It is all but said and done. They will get the revive, but I think this is it. Power will end up taking this game.
Catch, the last standing for the squad. A fearsome player in his own right will be able to find one, but position is now known and a sliver of HP is there. Last shots land, and it's Power to end the day with a chicken dinner.
Wow. Just wow. You don't take a hot drop with Nova and you end up getting a chicken dinner.
Look at that.
What a drastic difference in performance for the Power team on Erangel. No hot drop, no going out first, and you end up getting the chicken now, albeit they got so heavily zone blessed. They made 1 rotation, and that's where the zone ended. All the way through, it just kept closing and closing on that compound, which, by the way, is such a strong